Hello, 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 and welcome to today's episode of Her Version. This podcast is dedicated to sharing stories of struggle and triumph, a platform that allows individuals to tell their truth in order to inspire and uplift others. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button, follow, like, and share. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria. Let's jump right in. Hello, and thank you for joining us today for this episode of Her Version. The Her Version platform is built on storytelling and the understanding that many times our greatest learning experiences come from listening to other people's stories. Today, I am speaking with an amazing woman named Sofija. Sofija has created a brilliant life for herself that can only be explained by her constant perseverance and do whatever it takes attitude. She is here today to talk about a different way of viewing life. She advises humans to be daring, to appreciate their failings, and most of all, to have multiple role models to mimic in order to keep a positive focus on life. Welcome, Sofija. So, did you use any during this time? You kind of stated to take one day at a time, don't overthink things. Is there some sort of like a coach, a mentor, a book, a YouTube video, any self development or personal development that you did in order to recognize that that's the way that you were supposed to be viewing
Yeah.
this process? How did you do that?
So, to be honest, when I first started with it, I didn't really do anything. But then, as time progressed and as I got more bored because I was basically tied to a bed and I just got up to cook some food, I started really going into self development and personal growth. And one of the first things that I read was Atomic Habits by James Clear. And that's such an important book in my life. As I said, like, I really struggle with taking one thing at a time. And this book is exactly about that. So just taking the tiniest little commitment to something and just sticking to it. So even if it takes like 5 minutes of your day, that's like awesome. For example, the first time that I started doing things normally, as I could start to walk and all of those things, I decided to just do 5 minutes of jumping rope every day. Just 5 minutes, nothing more.
Okay.
And then 2 years in, I can jump for half an hour without a problem. But it's just taking it very, very slow and building up. That's the first thing. The second thing is I did a lot of journaling. I decided to have a really big, deep look into what's going on for me as a process and just exploring everything that comes with it, asking the uncomfortable questions. And also, I was kind of forced by the hospital. They made me go to therapy. So I really had to, because it was very difficult. I experienced a lot of tremors, a lot of anxiety because you're I cannot even like picture what was going through my head at that time because they were like, okay, Sofija, we're gonna come back and decide what we're gonna do to you today. And then your mind just goes on a spiral. You're like, oh my God, this is gonna hurt so much. What are they gonna do to me? What are they gonna touch? And especially because my surgery's in the lower part of my body and it's not, I cannot see it physically. That means I have to trust people. And it's super difficult to trust people that A, don't speak your language, you've never met them in your life, and next thing you know, they're basically just rolling around playing with your butt. And that's really intense. So they kind of made me go through therapy so that I can at least have calm reactions when they do something because my body would just like start doing like this. I'd be
Yeah.
like, I'm not controlling it. And they're
Yeah.
like, no, that's why you need to go to therapy.
Yeah.
So to anyone who's going through surgery or not even surgery, but like something that's difficult for them and they're experiencing it for the first time, having a licensed therapist can help you so much more unlock your full potential. Because for me, that's how I understand personally therapy. I don't see it as someone who's supposed to tell me how to be better, but it's someone who's supposed to give me the tools to unlock it by myself.
Definitely. Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. As far as, thinking of personal development and the books that you've read in that arena, how is that helping you with just other things in your life besides these kind of traumatic things, just in your friendships, your relationships, business? How's it helped?
Oh, it helps a lot. As I said, Atomic Habits has changed my life. How to Win Friends and Influence People is like my the favorite book ever. It's been actually written in the 1920s and now it's 2022 and those things are still highly important. And everything that I experienced during therapy and during recovery time for surgery has helped me immensely in my personal life, in my relationships, and in the way I conduct business as well. Because um, going through that experience makes you very empathetic towards other people who are experiencing those things. And especially in my business life, I have a philosophy that I when I do marketing and when I do sales as well, I really like empathy because I really like to connect to people and see if what I am offering them can help them. And that's definitely one way. Another way is it helped me be more consistent in everything in life. So when it comes to family, I'm very negligent sometimes of my family because I live abroad and I don't really talk to my family as often. But things like that book have made me give a higher focus to those things because coming from a very traditional background, coming from a very traditional part of the Balkans in Europe, has literally taught me to value family a lot and value my friendships because being at the top is lonely and I don't want to be at the top if I don't have my homegirls and my homeboys to back me up. So yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense. I agree with that. When you think about your journey and you think about the highs and the lows that you've had over the course of your life, can
Mhm.
you give us an idea of maybe a few steps that you take during those times or that you've taken in your life to go from maybe a thought or a heaviness that's going on into a brighter point of view? Do you have like
Yeah.
a process that you use or have you used one?
I don't really have like a specific process to it. It's more of a mindset. So for me, there's no limitations. Especially after surgery, there is literally no limitations whatsoever. As we discussed, yes, you can, and yes, you should. And even if it's a mistake, I would rather do it than not. And actually, like, as being an extrovert and getting to talk to so many people on a daily basis, especially when I run into older, more experienced women specifically, I ask them, what's the number one advice you have for young people? And they all say the same thing. And that's just do whatever you want to do and don't hold back. Even if it's a mistake, that's the way to know that that's a mistake.
Yeah.
And that's been a life changer ever since. But when it comes to processes, I just really go full head on. I don't hold back. Yeah, of course, just like any other person my age, I'm like, yeah, and what if they think I'm not good enough? Or what if this is not working out? Or what if they don't like me? I test that theory out. I'm like, so if they don't like me, I will get negative feedback. And then I'll say, thank you for your feedback and move on. And if not, if something else happens, I'm like, great, this is another new experience. This is another person that I can connect to. I really want to share, like, for all the young people that are listening, I really want to say the story. And this is a story that happened to a close relative of mine. She's a brilliant artist. Like, she draws like Picasso. She's amazing at it, and she specializes in fashion design. And there was a competition in our country by the lead Macedonian designer. It was basically a contest for designs, and she didn't sign up for it because she thought she wasn't good enough. And the main prize was designing the ultimate thing that women are going to wear. And I literally wanted to kill her. I'm like, you idiot. If you don't try, no one is going to know how good you are. And
Yeah.
I always tell this to young women and even to men as well. No one is going to sell you. You have to sell yourself.
Yeah.
And that means by friendships, that means by relationships, because nowadays relationships are like a job interview. What are you doing? What are your plans in life? You have to sell them the idea that you're good enough. And it's also in the job perspective as well. Like young people right now struggle to get good jobs, and that's because they're afraid to ask for the salary that they want. They're afraid to ask for the job offering that they want. And my advice is just go head on. It might be a mistake. It might be the stupidest mistake you've ever made in your life, but just go for it. Because then you have your 30s and your 40s to regret that shit.
Why do you think so many I'm going to say females, because I feel like this is more of a female thing.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it's not. Have a tendency of doubting themselves. Where do you think that comes from?
Oh, we're constantly told we're not good enough
By who?
by the world, especially like if you think about it in the job market. Look at the disparity between the job market. Look at CEO that are females and male CEOs. Like women are consistently not given a chance to prove how much they're worth because we're more emotional, because I don't know, we talk more about our problems and stuff like that. But to put a positive connotation to this is why scientifically proven females are better leaders than men, because we connect more to the people that we're talking about. And so many young people doubt themselves because nowadays we live in times where, we have social media and we're constantly thrown perfect lives. And for example, on LinkedIn, like people are just oversharing how much they've achieved things, even if that's not really a reality. Even if they're doing, I don't know, like just doing calls all day, it's just like a very basic thing. They're going to be like, I am a customer success manager. And that's great because it makes you go into positive thinking and makes you improve yourself. But it also makes a lot of people doubt themselves. I've literally encountered brilliant, smart young women in my life who are consistently scared to share who they really are because they think the world is not going to approve of who they are. And that's the problem. We consistently think that we need other people's approvals.
Yeah.